Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Back Love Matters. It's me, Andrea, and my girl
Shay.
We're gonna be back. This time, we're gonna be giving you a little bit of the been through to the breakthrough. We're gonna be talking about those stones that's thrown at your relationship that keep you in that foundation and make you who you are to get you where you need to be.
All right, so I'm gonna go first. So as you know, relationships are filled with ups and downs and turnarounds and different things that's just thrown at you that you don't know that you're going to occur when you're in a relationship. And those things can either make you or literally break you. And I feel like those things I look back on now with my husband, and I can say that it has honestly strengthened our relationship. It has strengthened our character individually, and it has helped us grow with one another. And I have so many stories, but I guess the one that I'll start with is Willie and I, when I decided to take the step and to move out of the home with my mother, he was actually staying in an efficiency. Really small. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I just was like, one day I'm about to get up and move in with my man. And it was a little small. I mean, like, I would say your picture, your bedroom as an entire house. And I was not used to that because I was used to staying in a home with my own room with 7 rooms in the house with a big kitchen, and it was definitely super, super tiny. And that right there for me was that was a struggle. That was a struggle point for me to even decide to take that step. 1, to move out from under the roof with my mother, and 2, to step out and move in with someone who I'm not married to. And that's basically how we started. Then we ended up moving to an apartment in Colusa Cove, and I got pregnant, and we had this whole thing going on, and we separated. We just, we got to this point where we didn't know how to speak to one another. Like, we didn't know how to communicate, and that was the problem. I was a bad communicator, and he was a bad communicator. It was never like, hey, let's talk this out. It was like, I'm yelling, you yelling, which creates all types of animosity and just a horrible situation. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave, and you can stay here. So listen, I don't know, I feel like I'm like a boy because I be like, F your feelings. Like, I can just totally just walk away and not feel absolutely anything. Like, not an inch of bad, especially when I feel like I'm right. Like, he can tell you that to this day. If I'm right, I feel like I'm right, and I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to say anything to you because I know I'm right. And there was certain times I was not right, but I would walk away from something, and that's what I did. When I think about it now, we should have sat down and we should have talked about the situation, but that's not how we handle it. I'm just like, I give up. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to be with you. And that was in 2013, and now it's 2018, and between those 5 years, it has been a complete turn around. And it's not age-wise of just being mature, but it was those things where we can think back on, we say, dang, we just handled that situation all wrong. Verbally, it was not where we were supposed to be. Or, spiritually, that's not where we were supposed to be. We weren't coming together. We weren't praying. We weren't building a foundation, trying to build a family. We were being selfish. Like, I'm worried about myself, you worry about yourself, and that's it. And that's not how relationships are supposed to be. And if I would have given up again and not sat down and say, Shay, you know what? You got stuff that you need to work on too. It's not a one-way street, and he got stuff that he need to work on, and you guys need to communicate that together. And if I would have understood that and knew that back then, I feel like things just would have went a lot smoother. But I thank God, because I know that those struggle points that we went through brought us to where we are today, in a good, solid foundation relationship. Like, we can sit down and talk about anything. And we can communicate together about anything. And if it's we don't go to sleep mad at each other. Like,
I hate that.
He used to sleep on that couch, and I would walk past him like I don't know you and you don't exist. Like, you are non-existent. But I have grown, y'all. I have grown and I have changed, and I understand that you just never know what the next day can bring, and you don't want to be mad, just not your significant other, but anybody. You just you don't want to sleep upset, because I didn't have no good sleep. I could walk past him and go in that room like I was sleeping like a baby, but if that man not in that bed, I don't have a good sleep, no matter what. Even if I'm not mad at him, I look for baby, and if he not there, I'm not sleeping well. So you have to make sure you squash that stuff, you get through it, you talk through it, you work it out, because people not gonna tell you, but everybody got problems in their relationship. Everything is just not 100 and pretty sunny skies all the time. Those cloudy days come, that rain falls, and you gotta be the type of person that say, you know what, I can make it through this. If you really love that person, you need to be the type of person that say, you know what, we can make it through. If you willing to do it, I'm willing to do it. We can come together and do this one. So, you know, that's a little bit.
The disagree to agree.
Yes.
Right.
That's what it's a give and take thing. That's what you gotta do. Yes. And then eventually both of y'all gonna fall, y'all gonna get back up and then just be happy together again.
And it brings you to where you need to be.
Yes.
Well, today I'm gonna make it short, and I'll give you a little insights about me and my husband. So I remember our first argument being about the AC, and I was like, this is what his mom was talking about. You never get to know somebody until you actually move in with them. So he always likes it cold, and of course I like it hot. So we ended up having to come up with an agreement. So in our house now, we just keep the air on 75. It goes on, it goes off, okay? So we had to disagree to agree. But I always seen that disagreement to agreement, and that's what I did like about the situation. Then later on, we would have those little arguments about, he would just get up and he would just leave. And I would call and I would think he would like be in like the living room or something, and I'm like, hello. I'm like, hello, where are you? And then he'll be like, oh, you know, I ran down, you know, I came to the hood for a little bit or whatever. I'm like, what? You never said you was leaving the house. Right. I'm like, number two, this is what your mama was talking about. You are not used to answering to somebody, but as I began to understand, I was like, okay, he's just coming from a situation where it was just him. So you have to understand, and I made myself understand that. But then we had this boom. It was like our relationship just went left. After being together for like 2 years, we end up having a little rough time. It was financial problems, but at the end of the day, it was kind of a bad situation, but it was like a really good situation because it was a time where I could show him who I was, and that no matter what you go through or what we go through, I'm gonna have us.
Yes.
And I was like, it's not a good time because he had ended up being unemployed. So he began to get frustrated and give up and all of that. So I was like, you know what? I was like, this is my time to really step up to show this boy that I am here. And no matter what, like dominoes, I'm coming to pick us up. Hey. So I was like, yeah. So whatever, make a long story short, we ended up, I was able to manage everything, and he ended up looking up something, and we decided to relocate. So we relocated, and when we got up to Georgia, it was a problem.
What the problem was?
The problem was the roles had switched. And I was like, okay, when you was in this situation, he wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever. I didn't mind because he was able to handle all the bills and so forth. But it was an uncomfortable situation for me. But yet, have I took my frustration out on him. And it was like we became enemies. We were sleeping in separate bedrooms. We were, oh my God. It was like if I did talk to him, it was like you was already aggravating me, and he was doing the same. So one day I was just like, you know what, this is not gonna work. I left Brother Man where he's staying at, and I came back, we relocated, and then I ended up getting in a relationship, and then another relationship, and it all didn't work. I ended up moving with his mom, so I had my one foot in there. I was like, you know what? So eventually when I stopped dating, he started dating, and I was like, Lord, how am I gonna get my man back? I was like, you know what, I already got one foot in the door, because I'm here with his mama, and she on my team. She always been team drill. So it was like a good situation for me. So he ended up coming because he always stayed in contact with my daughter or whatever. He always, no matter the situation, he was always there. So he ended up calling me one day. He was like, I'm on my way to come do a homework with her or whatever. So he was like, oh, what you doing or whatever. He was like, you there? I was like, yeah. He was like, you think we could talk when I get there? I was like, yeah. So he was like, okay. So when he came, he did the homework with my daughter. And then he was like, can we talk? You know me. I'm just acting like I'm all that. I'm like, oh, what you want to talk about or whatever. So he was like, we need to talk about us or whatever. So I was like, okay. So I was like, you got something going on or whatever, and I'm not trying to be selfish because I did have something going on, but I gave up and I knew what I wanted. But I was like, I'm not going to be inconsiderate, you know what I'm saying? So he began to tell me like, oh, you know, I'm only doing this to build myself back up. He was in like certain situations and he had started back getting on track. He told me that he was going to anger management control classes. I was like, what? I was like, oh yeah, they trying to get it right.
Yeah.
I was like, they trying to get it right. So he ended up doing all these things. He ended up getting him a new position. He had to start all over because he was used to making that money up in Georgia. Then he came back and he was like, you know what? I don't mind starting back, you know, from square one to get back up to where I need to be. And I was like, okay. So he was like, but what we gonna do about us? And I was like, you got something going on. He was like, baby, listen. This is only for you and me in the end. So I talked to his mom, and his mom was like, you know what? She was like, if that's what y'all want to do, she was like, she always told him, better go get your woman back, no matter what. Because nobody else can come here. So we ended up talking one day, and we just started like, we was taking it one step at a time. I would like get a new job. He was getting a new job. We were both helping each other like get transportation. We had started building back together, but we was doing it like separate, you know, but we was helping one another. So it was like, okay, I help you do this, you help me do that. Eventually we'll get back together. So that's what happened, and we ended up finding a place, and we just started from where we left off at. It was never like, oh, you know, the past, him throwing up the past in my face or me throwing up the past in his face, because it was always, we've been here before, you know. So it's like, let's just move forward because we see what we really want, you know what I'm saying? And it was like a really bad time, but it was like, that right there was the foundation to everything. That led our friendship to be more better. That led our, everything that was it was actually those bricks, but it was to build us. And I've always wanted somebody that I can disagree to agree with, because you ever had those arguments and you just like, okay. But as a man, you know, sometimes they're gonna say, let me just let you have that. Let me just let you have that. At first, he didn't used to be like, let me let you have that. I couldn't tell him nothing. But honey, he had to learn. Let me let you have that. And that became that became one of his favorite words. And when that became his favorite word, it was like, okay, now the transition is getting better because it's the disagree to agree. So that is, I understand that we want to choke them out sometimes, but all of that be to build your relationship. And I could truly say that what made us come back and to start all over again. It wasn't really starting all over again, but it was
a fresh start from something y'all left off.
Right. It was that's what we did. So I was happy for that. And I was glad I got my man back.
Yeah, that's how it is. So and you never know. You can't judge people's relationships because yes, some people may have happy here, but it's those people who are in those relationships, they really appreciate, you know, these things that occur in relationships. That it's gonna be those times where another person is down and you gotta lift them back up.
Right.
And if you're not the type of woman that's gonna do that, then that's not the type of relationship that you're gonna be in. But if my husband don't have, I got, because together we have. And that means if I don't have, he has. And I see posts, which bothers me all the time, about women and, you know, how they discuss their men and, oh, if they doing bad, because they need to be the one that's providing financially, everything,
That is so back in the days. Times are hard now. And it's a lot of households where women are the breadwinner. And it's okay. And you have men out here that they are intimidated by that. But at the end of the day, that's what teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
And it's like, it's no reason to be intimidated by it when at the end of the day, we're on the team. When you learn that you're not fighting against each other, you're fighting together.
Right.
It's not a competition against one another. We're together. So anything you, me, it's gonna balance.
Yes, because you guys are one. Like when if I remember when Willie and I was making only 11.46 an hour, like, and then I got pregnant, so then I wasn't making any income, like, but I can't remember a time where it was like, oh my gosh, what we gonna do? Like, never, because he did what he had to do to make sure that we had. And when he was in a place of doing bad, I was there to make sure that I had, you know, to provide for my family. So now as one together, we acknowledge no matter how much we make or how much we will ever make, it's still one. It's if I got, you got. If you got, I got. That's how it's supposed to be. And that's another thing. You shouldn't be selfish in a relationship like that. One person shouldn't be pulling harder than the other person. It should be the same 50-50 way. I'm not saying, you know, if that's what you do, then that's what you do. But don't knock the people down, okay, who agree with the 50-50 or the 60-40 or however you want to say it. Because Willie know I want to be a stay-at-home mom. But I'm going to have my business. I don't need him to provide financially just for me, because I'm a type of person that I like my own source of income. Like, I like having my own. But, you know, that doesn't mean that I'm going to solely just, you know, depend on him.
Right.
That I feel like that made me less of a woman to depend on him, because that's the way I was raised. Like, Shay, you need to have your own.
Right.
But, you know, together, if I'm, you know, if you giving, then, you know, I'm taking too. But I'm not going to take everything that you got, because it's ours. It's ours together. So that I just have.
And then y'all can't be out there getting big headed, because honey, at the end of the day, one thing about it, one thing that I have always learned. I remember days when my husband would call himself getting mad, or you gonna do this type of stuff. Honey, it don't matter what it is. God found a way
to make that something gonna happen.
Something gonna happen. It just always happen that way.
Something gonna happen. And I used to tell Willie all the time, I'm like, you see, this is what happened when you do bad stuff. When you do bad to Shay, oh, you gonna get it. Pontiac's on fire. Pontiac stopping, Toyota's breaking. I promise you, flat tire, and he'll call me. I'm like,
wait, I thought I was the only one.
I'm like, oh really? Dang.
And then the first thing babe, wait a minute, babe.
Ain't no babe.
Babe, you was gone. So babe, what you mean?
There's no babe. But
there's no
still to this day, he can do the smallest thing and shoot, man, I had a bad day at work. Really? That happened to you?
Right.
What you so you can't be doing your wife. You gotta when Willie treat Shay right, Willie is
happy wife.
Happy life. It is the rule. Because Bay is flourishing and blossoming, okay? Be happy. But when, do Shay wrong, bad business. It is bad business. So y'all out there, you need to treat your lady, your wife, your girlfriend, whoever it is right. Because when you got these little girls out here who you get them pregnant, they have a little girl. You don't want your little girl being treated a way that you know, if you disrespect or you treat your significant other a certain way.
Yes, these kids do what they see.
Respect at all levels, okay? If you don't want them, just
move on.
Just
to the left, like Beyonce say. To the left, to the left.
Just move along.
But ladies, you have to also, you can't. One thing that I do see that a lot of women do, they tear their man down. You have to be the man piece. One thing that I could truly say about my husband, people always be like, oh, you bragging about him. I got every reason to, and if I don't build him up to build us up, who's gonna do it? Then it's gonna be somebody else building him up. I don't need that.
Yes.
Oh yes, I tell him every day. It's days when I be at work. It's so sad because it's literally like the time we wake up in the morning and we getting ready to go to work, we go to work at the same time. I'm literally already missing this man, and I be like, oh my God. And I'm like, I'm just obsessed with this guy. But it's like when we at work, during the day, he can't really talk on the phone, but he'll just FaceTime me, or I just FaceTime him, and I be like, ooh, you so fine. And then I be like, all right, fine. Or I be on the phone, and I be like, shh. And he be like, or just blow that little kiss or whatever. But you have to be a man piece.
Yes.
If a man don't want to come home to
Yes.
all that nagging, all that frustration,
Yes.
they work hard just like we work hard.
Yes.
They provide, and they have, you know, all of us go through things. And one thing I never did was go to sleep upset with my husband.
Hello.
And it's like she said, it be weary when I can't sleep next to him. Ooh, I remember those days. He was on the couch, then I go out there and I say, babe, you know what? You made it back. Just come on, baby. It don't matter, baby. I ain't mad no more.
It's an empty.
But
empty
it's
feeling.
like it's that other half.
Yeah.
And with that friendship and that equally yoked and that communication and all of that, it no matter what is meant to tear you down, it will build you up.
Yes, it will.
So that's part 2 of us in Black Love Matters. Y'all subscribe at shayskyler with Andrea and McGraw.
Shay. Subscribe, like, share, okay?
Right.
And if you have any topics, because after this next topic, which is going to end like this series of our relationships, if you have any topics that you would like us to discuss, make sure you put that below in the comment section.
Right. Anything, everything.
Anything,
We
everything.
discuss, we address.
All right.
See you guys next time.